Hello, good afternoon. It is day 2, August the 19th, 2021. Welcome back to this podcast. My name is Joanna, and you are listening to Joanna Talks. That is the name that I came up with for this podcast. It's short, simple, and to the point. However, I know it's not that creative, but it's something. I just needed a title of some sort in order to get this out there. And hey, it worked. It's out there. So we are just going to keep on rolling with it. You and me, we're rolling with it. But for today's topic, as I mentioned last time, I want to discuss environments and how I am personally highly influenced by them. I'm going to begin by using a driving analogy because that's the first thing that popped into my mind when I thought about how to go about tackling this subject. So I don't know if any of y'all have been taught this driving technique, or it's more like a tip, but basically growing up while I was learning how to drive, I was told by my older brother to always drive at the speed of traffic, which essentially means don't always follow the speed limit, but instead follow the speed of the drivers around you, as it can be dangerous to be driving a lot slower than everybody else. You know, people get tickets for driving too fast, but they also get tickets for driving too slow because both are dangerous. Everyone is expected to be driving at the same speed. So, by stating this analogy, I want you, the listener, to know that I drive at the speed of traffic. I go with the flow. I don't go against the waves. I like to be in harmony with everything around me, and I don't like to cause anyone any trouble or distress. You know, when in Rome, do as the Romans do. That's me. I am a visitor, visiting Rome. I do what they say. There are many types of people. The polar opposite of someone like me would be someone that goes against the crowd, that doesn't care to stir up some chaos. Someone who is able to be themselves wherever they may be. That is not me. No. I am like a lizard, like a chameleon. And, I have this little story about a chameleon, but I'm going to save that for next time because it might be a little too off topic, but for next time. Story about a chameleon. Stay tuned. But I don't want to sit here and say that I am always, down to earth, because that's not true. I am aware, humans are very fluid and ever-changing creatures. So there are times where I too stir the pot and go against the crowd. But for the most part, I like to stand behind the line, so to speak. So with that being said, I want to talk about something I've been doing for a couple of years now. And what that is that I basically put myself in environments where I have no choice but to do what everyone else is doing. And I have no choice because that's my nature, of course. I've used this trait of mine as an advantage. For example, before the pandemic, I would never work on my schoolwork, my college work at home. So I would make myself sit at the library and complete all my work there. I would study, complete homework assignments, write essays, everything only at the library. I mean, this method worked like magic. I would be bold enough to say that it was like a cheat code for me. No distractions, nothing else to do except for what everyone else is doing, which is doing their work. I could be a savage and just pull my phone out and watch YouTube videos, but I wouldn't actually do that because I care to a certain extent of what people think about me. I don't want to stand out in a negative way. I can't stand out in a different, positive way. Like if my outfit looks good or I created a beautiful painting, that's standing out in a positive way. I don't have an issue with that. It's just, being the odd man out that gets to me. I don't like the attention. So here's another example of me putting this cheat code into action. I wanted to learn how to draw. However, I was having trouble teaching myself to do it because I wasn't very disciplined. I knew I was bad at drawing, so I didn't have a lot of motivation to keep me working on it consistently. I was doing a couple of drawings a week, but the progress wasn't really showing because I wasn't really pushing myself too much. Therefore, I decided to start taking art classes while I was attending community college. By taking these classes, I essentially inserted myself in an environment where everyone attending is putting a great amount of time and effort into drawing. The same thing, drawing. So obviously, I was inclined to match that energy. So to me, being with other people who are working towards the same goal as mine, in this case, it was learning how to draw, was beneficial because they influenced me in a positive way. Remember, this was something that I was not being successful at on my own. Even if it was something I genuinely wanted to learn, I was not putting in enough time and effort on it when I was doing it by myself. So for a long time, I was thinking that I didn't truly have any passions or interests because it was so difficult for me to try new things. And it's important to note that at this time I was also dealing with, major anxiety and depression. So those things didn't help out either. But once I started getting out of my shell and putting myself in new and uncomfortable situations, and started to experience more of what life had to offer, I ended up dropping out of college, unfortunately, due to financial reasons, and ended up acquiring a full-time job for 2 years. And those 2 years really altered the person that I was and who I was becoming, or who I thought I was becoming, because before getting the job, I was picturing myself as being a very creative and intuitive person. I was writing, reading, drawing, surrounding myself with art and creative people, which in turn made me feel like a creative person. But afterwards, when I entered the workforce full-time, and thus changing my environment and changing my daily routines with that, I began to see myself as a good worker because that's what I was striving for at that time, to be the best employee. Not surprisingly, in an office, traditional workplace environment, I began to pick up the traits that would make me successful there, like being dependable. Yes, sir. You need this done in like 2 hours? Oh, I got it. Don't worry. I didn't complain. I didn't ask for days off. Always on time. Very flexible. The jazz. I would get home so exhausted, and sometimes I would even bring work home to continue the work for the next day to try, to get ahead. I wasn't supposed to, but I did it because my job literally became my life. I was spending 9 hours out of the day there. Most of my time, energy, efforts, everything was being spent towards that company. And as a person, I care about meeting people's expectations. And what I learned from that experience was that, people will always expect more from you. Like, whether you're giving it your all, you were giving 100%. It's 120%, Joanna. Like, that's what you were supposed to give. Like, it was just never enough. I don't know. I completely lost my sense of self. My creative juices weren't flowing, daily like they used to. I wasn't making anything or expressing myself in any way or any creative way. So I felt like I wasn't doing what I was supposed to be doing, which was improving myself creatively. And that in turn made me feel more depressed. I had lost interest in all of my old hobbies because I wasn't in an environment that allowed me to engage with them anymore. Like my life just became my job, and the time that I did have off, I would either be sleeping, so I could rest, wake up on time, or when I wasn't working, I'd be hanging out with my friends, being social. So I wasn't really getting too much time by myself, with myself, and I started to feel like I didn't even know who I was anymore. So that trait, which I was using before to propel me forward creatively, was essentially hurting me in this new environment because I felt like I was working hard for someone else's dream and not my own. And maybe it was too easy for me to lose sight of what was truly important to me because at the time I didn't really have a clear-cut goal. I don't really have one now, still, to be honest with y'all. I just know I need enough time to think, to be able to think and to create. That 40-hour work life, I'm starting to find out, might not be for me, so I need to figure out how I can keep financial freedom as well as my creative freedom. Will I ever find the balance? Who knows? I have a goal to try to accomplish that now, I guess. So that's good. That's a goal. Anyways, thank you so much for listening to this podcast, to this episode. I'm really enjoying coming up with these scripts and just recording my thoughts. It's very therapeutic. But also, it gets my creative juices flowing, which I talked about that, it's what I need and I crave. So, claps all around. I will see y'all in my next episode. And I hope you have a good one. It is Thursday. Tomorrow's Friday and then the weekend and then going back to school. Yeah. All right. Have a good one, guys. Bye-bye.